but this is an author who was an indie published author. I just hit myself in the face. Good job, Kelsey. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with my fall TBR. So it is time for the beginning of fall. If you're watching this, I believe fall is in like a day or so. So happy almost fall, guys. It's time to talk about the books that I want to read this fall. So this is not a comprehensive list in the sense of like I have many books that I'd like to get to this fall, but this is like top of TBR, top 15 books I want to get to this year. Some of these are on here for a very specific reason. Some of these are on here that you've seen before because I've made able to like fit them in September. There was a couple of things on here already that I've already read, so like we're not even gonna talk about them. I've replaced them already on this list. But here is my top 15 that I'd like to get to in the next 3 months or so. The very first book is the only one I don't actually physically own, and that is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is one that I'm not sure if I'm going to get from the library. I'm not sure if I'm going to purchase. I did just see that it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I probably will do that version. But I am very intrigued by this one. I'm trying out some dark academia this year, and we're going to see if I like it. I'm not sure when that's going to be, but I'm hoping to get to a couple of things in the course of the fall season, and this is kind of really what sparked this idea. This is one that came out a few years ago that I feel like everyone who likes dark academia has read and loved, and so it seems kind of interesting. It seems kind of mysterious and mystery, so I'm gonna give it a try and see what happens. So the whole idea behind this book is to follow a kid named Oliver who has just recently gotten out of jail. I believe I've got the synopsis in front of me to remind me, but he's been in jail for 10 years and it sounds like he may or may not have killed somebody. Like, we're not entirely sure. But the detective who put him there is retiring, and so he meets with Oliver and basically says, what is the real story? What really happened, kind of to put him in jail. And so the story basically is he is one of, I believe, 7 people at this art school that are taking part in this Shakespeare play. I'm not sure, it doesn't say in the synopsis which Shakespeare play, but like they're very into Shakespeare. And something happens, the lines get blurred between what is on stage and what is real life, and someone ends up dead. And so it sounds like maybe Oliver had a hand in it, maybe he did it, maybe it was somebody else in this crew, maybe it was everybody in the crew, like we don't know. But the detective is like, I need an answer. Like, I'm leaving the force, you don't have to worry about me, but I need an answer for my own sanity. And so I'm curious what's gonna happen here. So this is kind of, like I said, OG Dark Academia. We're gonna see if I like it or not, but I'm very interested in it. So this feels like maybe later fall, but I'm very excited. The next one is a mixture of like possible dark academia, possible witchy vibes. I've been trying to get to this book for a few years and I just never put it on TBR to make it a thing, so we're going to do it here and hopefully this will make me read it. And that is A Discovery of Witches, and this is by Deborah Harkness. This is the first in the trilogy, and I'm sure many people have heard about this because it was turned into a TV show, which looks really good, but I have an aunt who is obsessed with this book and always asks when I'm going to read it. So I'm hoping to get to it this year. This one I don't know a whole lot about. Like I can't even remember who our characters are, but we've got a scholar named Diana who comes across this manuscript who apparently is like very witchy, and somehow she's a witch and opens it and kind of like, I don't know, sets off this like sonic thing, and now everyone's after her to get it. And there's this guy named Matthew, who I think is a vampire of sorts. And so I think it's their relationship. I think it's them finding questions, figuring out what magic-y thing is going on. But because they're different species, they aren't supposed to be together. And so like what happens with that? I don't know. But just the fact that they are different people, there's going to be magic in this book, and the fact that it's set, I believe it's set at, it's set at Oxford. So like you've got that studious thing with it as well. So I don't know, it's a thick boy, so we'll see when we get to this one. But it's giving me that like spooky witchy vibe with fall, as well as like magic and school. I don't know, it sounds good. So I'm hoping to get to this one as well. I think I just put all my dark academia together because the next one is also like a dark academia, quote unquote dark academia book, and that is The Atlas 6 by Livia Blake. So this is the first in the series. I do know the second one, I believe, is out by now at this point. This is an author that started off as an indie author and then recently got her manuscripts bought or is going to be published by Tor, which is what you see here. So her second one was delayed a little bit, but I don't know a lot about this book. This one is purely on this list because of Ashley from Frolic to Fiction. She adores this book, and a lot of people have read it since her. So it says on the front, knowledge is cartage, interesting, and then on the back it says secrets, betrayal, seduction, power, welcome to the Alexandrian Society. So we've got 6 people who are all wanting to be part of this Alexandrian Society. It's like a secret society of sorts, but there's only 5 spots open. So all 6 of them are competing for 5 spots, so one of them is not going to make it. I'm not sure if it's witchy. I don't know if it's like fantastical in any way or if it's just kind of like studious secret society-esque. I don't really know what I'm getting into, but it gives me all of the fall vibes. So we're going to give this one a shot as well, and then if we like it, we'll go pick up the second one. But I haven't picked up the second one because I want to know how I feel about this one first. I usually don't wait until I read, I usually buy the entire series before I even start, but because of this and it's like unknown territory for me, I'm gonna wait until I finish this book. So hopefully this year. The next one is one that is going to look very familiar to you because it's on my September TBR, and that is Anatomy, a love story by Dana Schwartz. This is the first in a love story, the series. There's going to be a second one that's coming out, I believe, beginning of next year, I want to say. I feel like it comes out in February. So this one is one that I am hesitantly optimistic about because of the subject matter. So we follow, I can never remember our characters' names. We follow Hazel and Jack. And Hazel is a lady who wants to be a surgeon, but because of the time period it's set in historical Edinburgh, it is, I don't know, like she can't be a surgeon because she's a woman. And so she, basically, the guy who's giving the tests in order to like make them surgeons says, hey, you can take the test. I won't stop you from taking the test, but you need to have like so many hours studying in order to do so, and she's not allowed in any of the classes. So he's like, if you can take the test and like study on your own and pass the test, then you can be a surgeon. That's totally fine. So she gets, I think they're friends, but she meets Jack, and Jack is basically a gravedigger. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if there's a specific reason why he digs up. I'm sure there is, but I just don't know what it is. Why he digs up all these bodies, but basically like they team up and she studies the bodies that he digs up in order to like help her out for this test. And then it sounds like some people are kind of after Jack for what he's doing, so it's giving me a magical twist. I don't know if that's real or not, if that's like something I've made up in my head, but I'm feeling that's like something magical is going to happen here. So we're hopefully going to get to this one this month. I'm hesitantly optimistic because it has that whole like bodies and medical thing, which is sometimes works and sometimes doesn't with me. My best friend Lauren read this one and told me to be wary of a few scenes because there's a couple of like gross scenes in this, and I just don't do well with blood, and specifically blood in a medical sense. So I'm excited about this book because my husband gifted this one to me, and I think I'm really excited to see how this author writes because I'm very interested in her new book as well. But I just, like, I think I'm gonna love it, but I'm going in hesitant, I guess. But yes, hoping to get to this one this month. The next one is one that you guys will have not seen on the channel quite yet because I got it this month in September. It was my book of the month for September, but it just is giving me like perfect fall vibes, and that is Killers of a Certain Age, and this is by Diana Rayburn, and it says it's kill or be killed, but they've been at this a long time. So this follows, I think, four women who are part of this like secret society. They've been assassins in this secret society for 40 years, and they have reached the retirement age, and so they've kind of gone on this adventure, kind of, I think they go on a vacation to just kind of like chill, and then they discover that someone is after them and is trying to kill them, because in the society you don't just retire, you are either killed or like you die some way. And so they're like, no, we're not going to do this. And so it's this story about 4 older women who are like still being assassins and trying to stop the person who's trying to kill them. It just sounds really fascinating. I feel like there's going to be a lot of funny moments in this book, and it's really popular because I feel like it came out this month, or like very, very recently. It did come out in 2022, so I'm not sure, but I feel like it came out really recently, and it just sounds like fun. I know that's a weird thing to say about a book about assassins, but it does. It just kind of sounds like fun. So I'm hoping to get to this one in the fall as well. The next book is one that I'm not sure I put on my TBR last year, but it was on my TBR last year. I just didn't get around to it. And that is The Double Vice, and this is by Chris Holcomb. This is a gift my husband gave me like 2 years ago. Like, it's been a hot second since he gifted this to me. This is an indie published book, and it just looks like so fun. It's a mystery. It says here at the top, it's the first in the Hidden Gotham novel. I'm not sure what that series is about, but it's the first in that series. So this book follows our main character, Dash, who is a speakeasy owner. It's set in like the height of the 20s, height of Prohibition, that kind of stuff, but it's a gay club. And so it's a very LGBTQ plus friendly story, if you will. But one of Dash's like patrons ends up dying, and so him and his friends are trying to figure out what happened. It sounds like this guy, or whoever this is, got murdered, and so they're trying to figure out what happened. But it says in the back they're also like dealing with a blackmailer, and it says, I have to read you this because it's so great. It says, together they navigate the shadowy world of drag queens, cabaret performers, gangsters, mob moles, lesbian lawyers, and a mysterious but dangerous baroness of business. So this is a mystery that takes place in the 20s, and that's all I needed to know. So I'm really, really hoping to get to this one. I'm kind of trying to make like November kind of like my mystery month, and so I'm going to hopefully be reading like a bunch of mysteries during November. So I think I'm going to try to get to that one in November. I've got some ideas, which you guys will see in a hot second. But this one would be great, I feel like, for that mystery vibe. And because I recently read that book, Self-Made Boys, which was set in the 20s, I'm kind of in that mindset, you know? So yeah, this is one that I would love to get to because Chris is really good about giving me books. I'm just really bad about reading them. And so I really, really want to get around to this one, and I love a good indie published book. So fingers crossed we can do it. The next one is another one you will have seen because I'm hoping to get to it in September, and that is These Hollow Vowels by Lexi Bryan. This is the first in this series. It says up here, a heart is a dangerous thing to steal. So this, I'm always confused by this. So it follows our main character, Bree, and her sister gets kidnapped by the king of the Unseelie court, and in order to get her back, he kind of strikes a bargain and asks her to go get something in the Seelie court. So she kind of like disguises herself as a possible suitor for the prince of the Seelie court, and hoping to get something to get her sister back. But I think she actually kind of likes the guy who's the prince, and then there's also like a rebel, like part of the Unseelie rebels or something, that like, it sounds like there's a love triangle. But I've heard that if you like The Cruel Prince and things like that, that's set around Fae, then you're going to like this book. And this cover just gives me all of the fall vibes. I don't know if the book is actually fall or if it's just this cover that makes me think it's fall, but this is just giving me all the fall feelings. So we're hopefully going to get to this. I'm thinking this will be great because like fall is a good time for mysteries and thrillers, but it's also a really good time for fantasy. So this, I think, would be a great book to read. We're gonna hopefully get to it, and I've heard good things, so I'm very excited about this one. The next one is just another kind of funny mystery that I think I will enjoy, and that is Finlay, Donovan is Killing It. This is by Ellie Casimano, I think, and this is the first in a series. I believe there's at least 2 out at this point. And we follow our main character, Finlay, who is a writer, and so she meets with her, I believe it's her publisher, one day. She's a stay-at-home mom. I think she's a single mom as well. Maybe not a stay-at-home mom, but she's a single mom, and she's a struggling novelist. And so she meets with her editor or her publisher or something like that in a coffee shop, and he's explaining this idea of a story about an assassin, and someone overhears her and mistakes her for an actual assassin and like hires her to kill somebody, and she's like, whoa, 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 wait. So it sounds like it's going to be super humorous because it's this very stressed out mom who didn't actually plan this and is somehow getting like sucked into this world. So it sounds really funny, and I'm excited to see where this story goes, and if I enjoy it, then of course continuing with the series. I don't remember what any of the other books are about, but it just sounds like fun. So it just is like a goofy mystery, I feel like. So yeah, we're gonna give it a try. I think it'll be like a nice a nice book to put in between some of these like harder topics or fantasies or something like that. It just seems like this will be one that I can get through really easily. Got some thrillers and mysteries here. The first one being Darling Girl. This is by Liz Michalski, and this is my very first book of the month book. I think I got way back in like May. Yeah, look at me, May. So this is kind of a reimagining of Peter Pan, and it sounds spooky and awesome. So we follow our main character, Holly Darling, who is the granddaughter of Wendy, and she is just kind of struggling because her son is happy and healthy, but her daughter has been in a coma for a decade, and it sounds that like her mom is or her grandmother is like obsessed with how great Peter Pan is, and she has a different version of him. Like she thinks that Peter Pan is kind of like the reason for half of the stuff that's going on. And I don't know, it just like, it sounds like Peter Pan might be out to get them. I don't really know, but it's a Peter Pan retelling. It sounds great. It feels like a good kind of like thriller mystery for this time period. So this feels like a good book to maybe get to in October sometime. The next book that I'm hoping to get to this fall is a domestic thriller, which is not something I tend to lean towards, but it's a book of the month book, and it sounded really interesting, and that is The Lies I Tell, and this is by Julie Clark. This is about a con artist and like someone who has been conned by her and them kind of coming back, like being in the same town again. So the con artist's name is Meg. It says Meg Williams, Maggie Littleton, Melody Wild, a different name for the same person depending on the time. So she's a con artist who has conned this woman named Kat like a while ago. It says 10 years. And so Kat's been waiting 10 years for her to show back up, and she does finally. And Kat's like, great, this is my chance. I'm going to expose her for who she is. And then it sounds like they're going to grow closer to each other, and maybe everything is not as it appears. So the cover's what drew me in. I'm not going to lie, because I love these colors, but it just sounds interesting. It gives me, like, I've never really read a domestic thriller before. So I'm thinking this might be a good one to try out this fall season while I'm like very much in like the thriller mystery mood. Another good book for this time of year is for the witchy vibes, and that is Her Majesty's Royal Coven. And this is by Juno Dawson. This is one that was very popular a few months ago, but this is basically set in the UK, and their tax department is called the HMRC, so this author has kind of like revamped it to make it witchy, and it follows four, Helena, Leona, Nima, and Ellie, and they're all part of Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which was established by Queen Elizabeth I as a covert government department. And so now it's been many years, and a few women have, gone in different directions. One of them uses her skills as a vet. One of them is just like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I just don't want to do anything with that. And you've got one of these girls. It is Helena, who is the reigning high priestess of the organization. And one of the other girls has started to go towards the dark side. And so you've got that going on. And then it says something about a young warlock who is like come into the town. I don't know. It's giving me spooky, mystery, witchy vibes, and I'm very interested in like all of the Britishness of this, because apparently it's very British, and I love books like that. So I don't know, it's just giving me spooky, witchy vibes, which is always what I want in October. So hopefully I can get to this one next month, but it just sounds so good, and I love the idea of this organization being started by Queen Elizabeth. I just love the history part of that. So yeah, this is a good one, I think, to get to next month. The next one is another kind of like mystery book. There's not really a reason why I feel like I should read it this fall, except for the fact that like every time I think about this book and every time I read the synopsis, I just really want to read it. And I'm in the mystery mood, and it's kind of a mystery, so we're going to go with that. And that is Portrait of a Thief. This is by Grace DeLee. This is a heist novel about stolen art, specifically, I believe, Chinese stolen art. Correct. So it follows, well, it's a reimagining, if you will, of a true story of Chinese art vanishing from Western museums and colonization and stuff like that. So there's going to be definitely some deeper, more important topics to go through, but it's all under the idea of a heist, getting this art back. And I love that. I love a good heist. Heist movies are some of my favorite movies. So I am very interested in this. And my husband also really likes heist movies. So I'm hoping to get to this because I think it could be something that he really enjoys as well. And so if I read it, I tell him that he would like it, then he'll read it. So that's also a reason to put it at the top of my TBR, but it just sounds really good. I haven't heard really anybody talk about this one except for Ashley from Unplugged Fiction. She's getting all kinds of shout outs in this video today, but she's the reason I picked this one up because it looks really good and you had me at Heist. So yeah, I'm hoping to get to that one as well. The next one is my Agatha Christie book, because of course this list wouldn't be complete without an Agatha Christie book. I went through all the books, because I've got quite a few, and this is the one that just kind of like stuck out to me the most, and that is A Murder at the I can never get this name right. A Murder at the Vicarage. This is the very first book in her Miss Marple series, which is one that I have not read. I've only read Poirot novels, and then like one book that's not based on like an actual detective. It's like just a standalone, if you will. But this one is her very first Miss Marple book, and I think I'm gonna really enjoy the character of Miss Marple, so this just really stuck out to me. But it follows like a murder that takes place in a village, and Miss Marple is like kind of a busybody, if you will, and so this murder takes place in the study, the vicar's own study, and so she kind of gets involved and helps try to solve this mystery. So this is I mean, we had to get an Agatha Christie book on. Like, it wouldn't be the fall without one, right? So we're gonna try out Miss Marple and see how I feel about her. The next one is a new release that came out this past month, I believe, and that is A Duel with the Vampire Lord. This is the most recent book in the Elise Kova's series, Married to Magic. This is a standalone series where like you don't have to read all of the books. You can pick and choose which books you want to read, but they all take place in the same world. They just follow different like magical beings, and so this one follows vampires. This one I'm hesitant about because, again, vampires. I have a thing that I've said a lot here recently, but I have a thing with blood, and it doesn't always work. You know, like sometimes I'm okay and sometimes I'm not. And so when there's a vampire book, I have to be very interested in it in order for me to actually pick it up, because vampires and I don't go along too well. But because it's part of the series, because it's Elise Kova, I'm gonna do anything for her because I love this series so much. So I'm definitely picking this one up. Again, hesitantly optimistic about this one. We follow our main character, Florian, I believe is how you pronounce her name, and she's a maiden for the Hunter's Hamlet, or the Master Hunter, who's basically trying to hunt down vampires. And her job is to keep him safe. And then one night she finds out that there's this vampire lord, and he has taken her brother, and her brother's about to die at his hands. And so she kind of like somehow trades places with him and goes with the vampire lord, but like they create some sort of pact, and so like now she's protecting the vampire lord, and then like learns that vampires are not nearly as bad as she is led to believe they are. And so I just really like her writing style. I really like this story, or like this world that she's created. The past two stories in this series have just been so fun. So yes, this feels perfect for the fall season. It's got that vampire vibe, which is always prevalent at this time of the year, so we're gonna give it a try. I'm scared, but I'm excited. And the very last book that's on this list is one that you guys have seen before, because I'm pretty sure it was, I'm positive it was on last year's list as well, and that's The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This one, I swear I need to read this book because it looks so good. It sounds really good. I've even recommended this to people who have read it based on my recommendation of a book I haven't even read yet and enjoyed it. It's bizarre. But it says, 1 murder, 15 suspects, can you uncover the truth? And this basically follows the small town where someone in the small town has been accused of a murder, or has been like suspected of murder, but like you are part of this, like you the reader are part of this class, and the guy who's in charge of the class thinks that like this person has been wrongly accused, and so he basically hands you the police file of everything, and you're supposed to solve the murder. And so like the book is the police file. It's mixed media. You've got emails, you've got actually it's, I would say 90% emails now that I'm flipping through it, but you do have text messages, you've got articles, you've got police reports, you've got everything in this book. And this just sounds like it would be so fun, because like you were trying to solve this mystery, and so, but also mixed media. Like those two things go so well in my head, of like this book would be amazing, and I have not read it yet. So this book is going to get read this year. I'm telling you now, because if I say it, then I'll feel bad if I don't do it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish this book, and I think it's going to be amazing. So yeah, you've seen this one before, but like, fingers crossed, I really, really want to get to it. And that's it. Those are all, well, not all the books, but those are the top books on my TBR that I would like to get to this fall. Primarily October, well, September, October, and November are like the months that I'm thinking for these. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know, as always, if you've heard any of the books that I mentioned in this video. If you've read them, let me know your thoughts. Or if you're like me and you like to have like seasonal TBRs, what is something that you look forward to for the fall? Is there a specific book you want to read? Is there like a type of book that you like to read during this time of year? Let me know your thoughts. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!